Previously, Estelle's family accepted her after she discovered her divine powers, but she faced a lot of bullying. Over time, Estelle's saintess reputation grew and she thought everything is going well. That's until she was offered as a sacrifice to the devil by her own family to fulfill their desires. Her family and even her lover abandoned her without hesitation. The devil took Estelle's soul to Gehenna, and since then, she suffered torture for 600 years. Later on, the devil made a deal to Estelle to take revenge, and Estelle accepted. The 6 duchies of the empire were responsible and the culprits for Estelle's sacrificial ritual. Each family of the duchies possessed jeweled eyes that symbolized their identity. The Garnet family was symbolized as strength and was known as the family of knights. The Diamond family represents wealth and are the magnates of businesses and merchants. Emerald the Blessed represents religion and divinity and holds authority over the Holy Temple. The Sapphire Duchy symbolizes justice and manages the law and the court system. Amethyst Duchy represents magic and rules over the magicians. And lastly, Peridot signifies judgment and are the agents of angels. These 6 duchies wielded power that surpassed even that of the imperial family, which led to some of them to abuse their authority and even craved for a greater power. Their rotten greed reached the devil, and in the end, the most noble soul, Saintess Estelle, became the scapegoat of their selfishness. 10 years ago, before Estelle's sacrificial ritual, Estelle was the Duke's illegitimate child. As a result, like today, she is often looked down upon and bullied within the household. Flandre, Estelle's half-sister, especially likes to pick on her just for fun or to boost her ego. Originally, she was destined to grow up on the streets, but she awakened holy powers. That is difficult to find, and because of that, she entered the Duke's house. Flandre's friend Marriott, from the Diamond Duchy, often joins in to display their arrogance. Estelle doesn't fight back and remains silent, as she believes that it is meaningless. And she believed that if she worked hard, they will surely open their hearts. Flandre suggested to Marriott that they should just leave since Estelle acts like a wall. The love and affection of the Emerald Duchy, in which Estelle was taken in, are all falsehoods that surrounded Estelle since she was branded as a thief and a bad omen. Still, there was exactly one person who stood by Estelle's side and doesn't discriminate her, even if all people does, just because she is an unwanted child. He is Yusin Peridot, the only successor of the Peridot household and has the bloodline of angels. A child who possesses silver hair and innocent eyes, but seems to see through things, is Yusin and Estelle's only childhood friend. Estelle asks Yusin if he is ready for his departure, and he affirms that his preparations are complete. Thereafter, Estelle presents a gift to Yusin. While receiving Estelle's farewell gift, Yusin appears to be feeling down. Upon noticing Yusin's reaction, Estelle feels awkward that he may not appreciate the gift. Yusin reassures Estelle that he enjoys the food gift, but it's evident that he's feeling down, because they will be departing and won't be seeing each other again for a while. With a smile on his face, Yusin refers to Estelle as his sister while expressing his satisfaction for any food that Estelle makes. As Yusin and Estelle were still talking, a voice suddenly called out to Yusin. She was Yusin's personal maid who told Yusin to hurry up and get ready. Yusin let out a sigh because he didn't have much opportunity to talk with Estelle more.
Yusin, we will meet again in 10 years, right? You must complete your trial safely and return.
Estelle smiled and bid Yusin farewell in hopes that they will meet again after 10 years. That's right, her only friend who was always there is now leaving for 10 years. Yusin cast a final look at Estelle and vowed to reunite with her in a decade's time upon his return. Estelle didn't know back then, that day, that goodbye would be their last. In the middle of the night, a solemn voice can be heard in the great temple.
O great temple, please shower Yusin's future.
It was Estelle who was earnestly praying to bless Yusin's future. As a saintess, it was normal for her to seek God and pray especially for her close friend. Naive Estelle, stupid Estelle, on this day, prayers are more needed for her than anyone else. Because this is also the day when she walks down to the stairs of hell. A human offering, it is one of the most disgusting ritual of the black magic. Throughout her life, Estelle fell into the terrible conspiracy of those she had been trying to love. and was offered as a sacrifice to the devil. It was the voice of the devil trying to take her soul, and Estelle trembled in the midst of dying. Estelle's soul suffered for 600 years, and when she was about to perish, the devil made an offer to help her get revenge and revive her for a short amount of time before her soul completely expires. In the end, Estelle succumbs into temptation and agrees with the deal made by the devil, and ventures back to the living world to plan out her revenge. Afterwards, in another place, a black-haired woman lethargically opens her eyes. She finds herself lying on the ground and is confused about her current situation. Suddenly, an eerie voice called her out. That's right, the woman with pitch-black hair is Jewel, and it was Estelle who called her out. Jewel trembles in fear and shock as she just seen the woman, who should have been dead, is in front of her eyes. The devil's words came into mind. The special gift he referred was to send and make Estelle face one of her enemies right away. It's one of 6 dukes who dominate Lionheart Empire. Garnet Duchy's precious little miss, Jewel Garnet. At this time, multiple branches and thorns stretched out, and the devil's flowers spread out all over the face and to the neck, to the whole body of Jewel, strangling and constricting her, making her cry in excruciating pain. Jewel asks Estelle why is she doing this to her. In Estelle's previous life, Jewel followed her along like a real sister, and on that day, she was also one of the enemies who sacrificed her to the devil in conspiracy. The devil smiles in eagerness as he asks Estelle to take Jewel's soul. Jewel shrieks in terror as she realizes her imminent end and begs Estelle to save her. However, the darkness summoned from Gehenna continued to cover her body. It was the darkness of the curse that caused pain to the other person. Estelle watched Jewel with no sympathy in her eyes as Jewel begs for mercy. Estelle laughed. She forgot how to laugh, but now she thinks she should laugh for this moment. Thanks to the curse, Jewel was unable to die yet and was struggling in pain. This is all because Estelle did not permit death, since she still wants Jewel to suffer as much as she did. Jewel, the beautiful black-haired girl, stepped back in fear, but it was too late. The black darkness swallowed her even more. When suffering in Gehenna, Estelle imagined this moment endlessly. But there was no greater inspiration than she thought than seeing it right in front of her. It hasn't even been 30 minutes yet compared to the 600 years of the same pain. But Jewel is already in the brink of death. Estelle had been speaking by herself, so Jewel thought that she would finally spare her. Estelle tells Jewel that she seems to be misunderstanding something, since Estelle was not actually talking to Jewel but rather to the devil. Jewel's eyes fell into despair and confusion. The devil began inspecting Jewel as if it just acquired a new toy. Jewel didn't see it at first, but when it touched her, she then realized that she was just a prey to it. A very delicious prey indeed. Jewel smiled all of a sudden. No, she is actually not Jewel, but Estelle herself, who disguised as Jewel using her body. The Empire's greatest family, Duke Garnet's precious spoiled little miss, Jewel Garnet. Just watch from Gehenna, Estelle said. Estelle finally succeeded in her first revenge, but this is just the beginning. Jewel screams desperately for help, but nobody hears her plea as she is dragged to Gehenna. Back in the Garnet mansion, Jewel opened her eyes slowly as the sun shines brightly on her. It was a difficult task, but from now on, Estelle will assume the identity of Jewel in the story. Nobody knows the truth that day, and it will be like that forever. She thought that if she become Jewel, her revenge will be easier in the future. Although Jewel is known for being spoiled and immature, nobody will have expectations on her. But nobody will also disrespect her and treat her badly, since among the 6 Duke families that rule the Empire, they are the Empire's best family. Later on, suddenly, the sound of plates breaking reverberated across the room. Jewel's cousin brother, Hamilton, angrily scolded the maid who broke the plates. The Duke's family members are having dinner, but it seems Hamilton is causing a ruckus. The maid's complexion turned pale and trembled as she hurries to clean up the broken plates. Jewel had been silently observing for a while. It's the third day since she came to the Duke of Garnet. She was smoothly adjusting to the duchy. The Duke diverts the atmosphere and asks Jewel if she already recovered from the incident. It seems the whole truth was completely concealed and just regarded as a small incident. That Jewel fainted and is recovering from her frail body. As Jewel was observing, she quickly notices something on the maid. Jewel has a strange expression for a moment. This is because she can see the maid's fate using the Watcher Eyes, which is used by the devil, and predicts the future of the maid lightly as incoming tragedy.
I can make use of this.
The duchy's ugliness was an opportunity for her, an opportunity to choke the enemy. Later that night, the maid came apologizing to Hamilton in a secluded place. She was crying, and the man was drunk. It was obvious what he was trying to do. He held his whip ready to strike the maid as punishment, as if it was not his first time doing that. Corrupt nobles always have crimes. This time, Hamilton likes to physically abuse the servants. At that moment, someone arrived. It was Jewel. Jewel stared at the man disgustingly, since he was like a child with anger issues.
Jewel, why are you here? Hurry and go back,
Hamilton angrily said. However, Jewel refused casually. He was her goal right now and came at the perfect moment. Jewel pondered, thinking about how to dispose of the trash in front of her. The maid stared blankly as she was confused. What is suddenly happening? Countless thorns wrapped around and pricked Hamilton's body, as he feels being pierced by countless needles. It didn't take long. Hamilton fell as Jewel casts the spell and was wriggling like a worm on the floor. His hands and feet were all terribly broken and unable to move. Hamilton wriggled. His eyes were stained with fear as he doubts that she is not Jewel.
It's me, your sister, Jewel.
She responded in Jewel's tone and continued.
Let's just say that I got this power because I passed the crisis of dying a few days ago.
Hamilton is covered with sweat.
Choose, will you die in secret or will you become my slave and lead an ugly life?
Hamilton was not her direct enemy, so Jewel decided to give him a choice. Originally, Jewel had a fairy-like beauty, but the beauty was obscured by her bad temper. However, as the usual wickedness in her face disappeared, her beauty was clearly visible. Moreover, her eyes filled with indifference were intensely fascinating. Hamilton told Jewel he will not abuse the maids again, but Jewel didn't change her mind. It is better to avoid death. Of course, it will not be easy living as a slave also. Jewel cut her hand with her finger and blood started to trickle down.
Drink this blood if you want to go on an ugly life.
A drop of blood fell in front of Hamilton. It was a blood contract for slavery.
So choose carefully.
But Jewel didn't even finish her words as she was surprised. Hamilton began licking and drinking her blood in the ground just to save his life. Jewel is disgusted by Hamilton's actions just to live.
The contract is now established. In the future, Hamilton's soul will be forever subordinate to me.
Jewel lifts Hamilton's head in satisfaction. As if proving the contract, something surprising happened. Darkness protruded from the ground and penetrated his body. Now, Hamilton is a living marionette that moves and speaks only according to Jewel's will. Days later, after Estelle, no, Jewel disappeared. Two characters appeared near where she was before.
Is it here, Your Majesty, where you feel the darkness?
It was a young man and his companion who are investigating about the sudden burst of black magic that happened within this area. The young man has silver hair and pale green eyes. His metal glasses gave an intelligent feeling. Grand Duke Yusun, that's the identity of this silver-haired man and Estelle's childhood friend. Yusun thought that he might be mistaken or the darkness could be strong enough to hide itself. Sadly, all his assumptions might be correct since Estelle was the source of the dark magic. Count Median, his companion, reminded him what happened 3 years ago. That's right, it's already been 3 years since Estelle was sacrificed through a dark ritual. And to this day, Yusun still blames himself for being unable to do anything, since he didn't know about it and he was away. He was told that it's not his fault, however, the comfort of that was not able to appease him. Grand Duke Yusun was still a young boy back then and she took care of him, who was ruined. And in the end, he was able to overcome his wounds and able to stand on his own. Relying on that promise back then, Yusen survived the terrible trials of 10 years and was able to become the Grand Duke of Brightness, defending the Empire from the threats of darkness. Grand Duke found traces of darkness, but will he be able to face Estelle as his own enemy, now that she became the darkness herself? Estelle has already started her revenge and infiltrated into her enemy's territory by disguising as Jewel of the Garnet family and acquiring a slave. Her goal for now is destroying the Garnet family from within and acquiring power of the family herself. But will everything go well? Will Yusen meet Estelle sooner and be able to discover Estelle assuming Jewel's identity and fight her since she became evil, or will he remain oblivious since Estelle was already dead? That's all, folks. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be posting more videos about good reads you may like, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you soon.